DJI Mavic 3S coming soon? Got that coming up next. Bill the Drone Reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night I hosted Rotor Talk Live and was joined by Mr. Marcus Crawford and Mr. Ron Brown. We spent the better part of the evening discussing all about the rumors regarding the DJI Mavic 3S. We also discussed the GPS issue at length and why it still is rearing its ugly head, and also why we haven't heard anything regarding the DJI Mini 3. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. There is talk, and I'm going to show you guys an article. Mavic 3S. There's strong rumors that a Mavic 3S is coming. I kid you not. This is not an April Fool's joke, okay? It's not April 1st, guys, okay? It's not an April Fool's joke. This is real stuff. And let me go ahead and get this article up, okay? Because when I saw it, I was almost looking like, is this April 1st? And I know, hey, Castello, and hey doesn't pull your chain with stuff, okay? Hey's not that kind of person, okay? So let me go ahead and share this because this is some incredible stuff here, all right? DJI Mavic 3S rumored for a possible fall release. I was like, I see this out there, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Is this for real? And let's go through what the rumored specs are and see what's going on here, okay? Now, I'm going to read part of Hayes' article. Now, remember, everything that you see on here, it's out on Bill the Drone Reviewer Facebook group and page. All the articles, links to everything will be out there so you can look at these later, okay? Mavic 3 has been plagued by missing features since it was released in fall of 2021. Drone maker DJI has been playing catch-up with firmware updates to make the drone live up to promises at the time of launch. One of the biggest gripes in both professional and hobbyist drone pilots has been incredibly long time it takes for the Mavic 3 to establish satellite connections. So presumably the yet-to-be-released Mavic 3S is going to fix all the problems, okay? Now, Mavic 3S, S stands for satellite. Makes sense, doesn't it? No, kidding aside, DJI is rumored to be working on a new version of the Mavic 3. It would be called the DJI Mavic 3S and offer a number of improvements. 1, the sensor for the telephoto camera would increase to 1 inch. 2, the main camera would remain unchanged. 3, the battery capacity would be increased by roughly 15% for a longer flight time. The release of the Mavic 3S might be as soon as this fall or Q1 of 2023, and the Mavic 3S might come in different color options. Now, please keep in mind these are very early rumors and thus likely to change. We first wrote about the Mavic 3S in December of last year. FYI, the DJI Mavic 3 has a 1/2 inch CMOS sensor for its secondary camera with a telephoto lens. As far as the satellite problem in the current Mavic 3, it seems that the latest firmware update has not resolved the issue for all pilots. Initial user feedback is mixed, to say the least. More about this in a later post. And we've already talked about that. In the meantime, what do you think of the Mavic 3S arriving on the market? Something to look forward to? Is it too soon, and should DJI focus on cleaning up all the issues with the Mavic 3 before launching yet another drone? Or do you think it makes sense? The Air 2 and Air 2S were launched very close after each other. The same goes for the Mavic Mini and the DJI Mini 2. They were about 1 year apart. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Wow. Wow. All right. Wow. Just, we're all into the world, all in the Mavic Mini 3, okay? We're all in Mini 3 mode, and we're waiting out there with bated breath to look out on the FCC ID database. Nothing's out there. Ositalev, quiet as a church mouse, okay? Nothing out there. We're not seeing a thing, okay? And then, boom, this hits, all right? So now you can see why, all right, this is exactly why we're not hearing anything about the Mini 3, all right? It's because, they've I know the Mini 3 is going to be a great seller for them, all right? That's not going to be be an issue. Okay. What happens here, okay, with this, okay, these are tied in. These are tied together. All right. DJI is not going to be doing this without just cause. All right. I can tell you that. Now, Stephen Ewing just put up there, surely that is admitting a liability, that there's a major problem. This cannot be legitimate. It leaves them open for so many losses. Stephen, you're right. That's a very good point. This forum article seemed very accurate in terms of describing what's going on here. And, this is one of those things. Did DJI give any expectations on how long GPS sats will take to lock? Don't think so. The chips are working. Case closed. I don't know, Floyd. Some people see it, some people don't. Church and mouses in my neighborhood are very verbose. Yeah, Russia. Yeah, I kind of think so. Okay, I agree with you. Okay, that is a good point, Floyd. That is a really good point. From everything now that we're reading, and with that the great information that Bill Thomas forwarded to me, this could be a two-pronged issue. Not only the software, but the hardware, okay, and the chipset, and and like you just said, Stephen Ewing, this could open up DJI to a whole host of issues, and cost them a boatload of money. Now let's remember this here, okay? The Mavic 3, all right, what is not the Cineversion. We're not even talking the Cine version. The standard version is the most expensive consumer drone they have ever made. Okay. Mr. Ron Brown, how are you, sir?
Mills, I'm good tonight. Sorry, a little late. I had a little bit of audio problems and sound problem. There's a band playing right outside the things. I had to sequester to the bedroom here to get some, that I didn't want to sound like I was coming from a party.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's a Italian thing going on down at the I'm going to call it the pool area, and they got live music and everything like that. They're playing a lot of good old songs that you and I would like from the 60s and 70s, but I don't think that the drone audience would particularly care for them, though.
Probably not. You were probably right. We're talking about the revelation today that we found out from Hey Kestelou that there is a Mavic 3S on its way, supposedly, and supposedly it's going to fix this GPS issue. And I got to thank Bill Thomas. I don't know if he forwarded the article to you, but he did to me. It was from one of the DJI forums about what's going on with that. And it was very detailed. And I spent some time going over it. And again, I want to thank Bill for that. That was really educational in finding out things. And, I have to believe it is part hardware. It is part software. And we've brought up the point in the discussion, which Stephen Ewing is right. This could open up DJI to a whole host of lawsuits and, just some really angry customers.
I hope I'm giving good information here, Bill. I think Hey Kessler Drone XL has already come up with an article since that, where he's talking about something Original Dobo said in his video, and it's not original, but a commenter on the videos made some kind of comment. And anyhow, the article's so long and so detailed, I did not get to read it all before I went to the show. But I think we've already got kind of an update on that original article about where somebody disputing some of that. I don't have the link for it. I'm sorry. I looked at it right before I ate dinner. I didn't have a time to read the whole thing, but it may be even more updates.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to go ahead.
It's breaking news all the time on this, Bill. My only question is, Bill, if it is okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts, Bill. The post the forum comment, the guy described they had a shortage of their usual GPS chips, and they used the automotive GPS chip. Have you covered that, Bill?
Yes.
And it doesn't have as much onboard memory. Okay. That I buy all that, but then why doesn't everybody have the same GPS lock time? Why is the times if that okay? if that throws out the excuse that that's GPS satellites, then why do some people in different regions get faster times than other people do if it's not GPS satellite related? Because if they were all using the same automotive chip, should they all have roughly about the same GPS lock time, Bill?
Yes. Now I got that article up right now, and I'm going to go ahead and share that. And thank you for calling my attention to that. I think this is some important information to share with
It's a lot.
everybody.
It's a lot to unpack in that thing. That's why I didn't have time to
Hey,
read all,
Marcus,
Bill.
welcome.
Gentlemen.
Marcus,
Now,
there he is.
apparently, it said DJI removed the entire thread on the official forum. Ariel is up to posted a very lengthy and detailed possible explanation to what may be the cause of the Mavic 3 GPS issues. DJI removed the entire thread and even proceeded to ban Ariel's up to from the DJI forum, allegedly because Ariel's up to was trolling the drone maker with various accounts, which is very interesting because let me look at this here. This is from Snoopy too. This isn't Ariel's up to. And this is a very lengthy, detailed explanation.
It's the
And
same
again, Bill-
post, essentially, Bill. And I'm just telling you, I think the guy's after clicks. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Now, he gets into talking about, I mean, it really, what you're seeing here, this is pretty much what I had gone through, talking about the Firmware data, Magtech's counter perspective. I'm not a GPS chipset expert, so it's hard for me to say this is correct or not. However, Magtech's response to the above post, spoiler alert, Magtech, who knows a thing or two about tech, says Ariel's up to is completely wrong in the comments on Original Dobo's YouTube channel. So here we go. Ken, the article on the DJI forum is not factually correct. People are so desperate for info, they just started to make stuff up. The chipset they're using is the same. It's just the automotive version that has higher compliance requirements for car use. It says the M8030, no matter the version, has the same GPS performance. The automotive industry version simply costs more for those applications, usually with higher temperature requirements and designed to comply with Electronic Council's various grade specifications. I put a big post there and he removed it with the thread. 99% of what he is saying is totally wrong. There's a lot of hype and fake info around this right now, and it's getting silly. Because DJI has an issue, but it's not specifically related to the automotive chipset. This was my full response to him. And he goes into the response here.
That's what you call a specious explanation. It sounds logical. It sounds really good, but it's just a bunch of baloney.
It's right. And you're right. And, I think it hit, it fooled a lot of us. We really thought, that this was something that made sense. This was something that, this was an explanation for things. But, the curious thing, and I'm going to say this and pose this to both you guys, okay, with the news of the Mavic 3S on the horizon here, and also, and likely too, and I know you guys have noticed this and you addressed it, it's been quiet about the Mini 3. There hasn't been a peep. Nothing FCC, ID database, Cedalev's been quiet. The other guy on there, he's been quiet. There's been nothing out there. So their attention has probably been directed toward this. Good, bad,
or Bill, do you buy my theory at all that they won't release the Mini 3 until this satellite issue is resolved? Because if the Mini 3 has the same satellite issue as the Mavic 3, it's going to be a much bigger deal because 10-1 people are buying more Mini 3s than they are Mavic 3s.
Oh, I agree 100% now, Ron.
Many more people's hands. And if we think it's a big issue now, wait until people go from their Mini 2, where they get satellites in 30 seconds, to the Mini 3, where they get it in 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
When they upgrade, it's going to be, could we say revolution, Bill? Or
you'll see pitchforks and torches, and the faithful will be in mass with something like this. But I agree with you 100% on that, Ron. That's why the Mini 3 talk has stopped. They're focused, their heads down. They want to get this right. They don't want to screw it up, because this is their, and I said before you guys came on, this is their most expensive consumer drone they've ever made. All right. Not even talking about the Cine version, just the regular version. It's the most expensive. It's over $2,000.
And their markup this is the consumer drone they make that they make the greatest markup on.
Yeah.
And I think Ron has made this point many times. That was the start of what got people off on the wrong foot with that drone. People were shocked by that price initially. And of course, we've all talked about this since. When you analyze it, it really isn't that expensive, but it seemed like it when it came out. And I think that kind of put a sour taste in people's mouth. And as Ron has said many times, it's now the drone that people love to hate.
Yeah.
Even Ken Heron agreed with me when I said at the boardwalk. He agreed wholeheartedly with that. And a lot of the hate towards the Mavic 3 GPS slow GPS issue comes from people that don't even have the drone. It's just a way for them to the stockpile. They're out to get it anyway, so they just stockpile on. So again, a lot of that GPS hate comes from people that don't even have the drone. Now again, a lot of people do have the drone, and they're legitimately upset by it, and that's okay. They're allowed to be upset by the GPS. Usually, they pay their money. They had expectations. Bill, just for get a benchmark today, I did a GPS lock test on the Mini 2 in the exact same location that I did the Mavic 3 2 days ago. And the Mavic 3 that day got it in 1:40, which is totally acceptable for most people. But the Mini got it in 40 seconds. Same exact spot, same time of day, same weather conditions. It beat it by a minute.
Yeah. So, Ron, Bill, I want to add. So, the reason that you buy a drone like this, I took it up today. I was just uploading some video off of it. I took it up into the Boise foothills, up into the mountains. 36-mile-an-hour winds, guys. I had GPS lock in about a minute and a half. Took the drone up, flew it around up in the mountains. 36-mile-an-hour gusts. The drone didn't even know it. Flew excellent. I was able, because of the obstacle avoidance, because of the intelligent return to home that this drone provides, I was able to fly it down into some draws and things like that I guarantee I wouldn't do with a mini drone, because if you lost contact with that thing's going to turn around and smack right into the side of the mountain, whereas this guy will fly out, over the top. But again, OcuSync 3, excellent connection. So I totally get the problems that people are having with GPS. It's a legitimate complaint. But other than that, and Ron has said the same thing, this is by far the best drone I've ever owned.
I agree.
Bill, what I say is, okay, once you get this drone, once you get your lock and you get up about 50 feet in the air, it's the best drone I own, or whatever, from that point on, or whatever. Once it's up and pull, I usually get 1920 salads on the East Coast when I'm flying around, when it gets it all the way in, and that's good enough. It comes back. I get precision landing lots of times. It knows exactly where I am. So again, once you get those lock and you get in the air, it beats everything else that I own out there. And Marcus agrees.
Yeah, one more point that I'll make is, there's people that are very unhappy with it. Return the drone. Send it back to DJI. Yep. If it's an issue for you, I mean, the great thing about DJI is they've got a great return policy. Send it back.
Hey, you put Lauren's comment there. He wants RAW in the long lens mode. Did you see one of the 3S rumors is that the tele lens is going to be a 1-inch sensor in the 3S mode?
That would be awesome, because I'll tell you, one of the biggest complaints I have with the drone is I am not super happy with that zoom. Even when you're cropping on that micro four thirds sensor, it doesn't take very long for it to look pretty rough and pixelated, and then it pops from 4x to 7x, and I hate that jump. I don't know about you guys. I hate it when you get that jump from 4 to 7.
Yeah.
And then the 7 looks really good. And I'll give that a buy. As you start zooming into 28, hey, how good is it going to get?
Yeah.
But my Air 2S, I like the crop zoom better on my Air 2S than I do on the Mavic 3.
I agree, Marcus, because I've noticed the quality on both, and the Air 2S, it's just that zoom it's sharp, it's clear. I mean, up until like the last iteration, you're getting some really good stuff from the Air 2S versus the Mavic 3. I agree.
And Marcus, if I didn't think I needed like a real long zoom, I would even turn the tele lens on. I would just use the regular lens on the Mavic 3, where it would stop at the 4x or whatever, and not even go over like you just said. And if I thought I was going to really have to zoom long, I would just start at 7x and not take that jump that you're talking about. That's unpleasant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, again, Ron really kind of nailed it here. The wheels have been stopped, the wheels of motion regarding the Mini 3 right now, because everything, their heads down, they're focused. They want to take care of this issue with the Mavic 3. Okay. It needs full on attention. All right. Because, Ron can attest to it. Marcus can attest to it. I can as well. Okay. I've never flown a drone like the Mavic 3 before. All right. The stability in the up there is phenomenal. I mean, I had 20, 25-mile-an-hour winds. Nothing. It was nothing for this drone. Okay. The quality, the video coming back. Okay. Just no special modes, no hyperlapse, no nothing. Just the quality, normal quality, like 4K, okay, or 1080p. It's stellar. Okay. Even on cloudy days. Okay. The detail is there. The sharpness is there. The colors were good. Okay. Not having to do anything in post to it. I mean, it just really kind of popped. It was great, and that's one of the things that I like about this drone. And then the battery life. Okay. That's one of the things people don't talk a lot about, the battery life on the Mavic 3, but it's a kicker. Okay. I've only got 2 batteries, guys, and that's all I'm bringing. It's all going to be in my case, because you know what? I don't need more than 2 batteries. I really don't, because, the run times that I get with this are insane. Okay. I don't need more than 2 batteries. I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point, Bill. I mean, it gets lost in the shuffle from the GPS issue. Both you guys mentioned, the battery is fantastic, as Marcus mentioned. Its performance in high wind is bar none the best. In fact, the real short story: I had a meet up with Captain Ray and TJ Alexander last week down here at the Juneau Fishing Pier, and I got there, and they were already there. And they said, "Ron, we gotta go to a different spot. We can't fly here; it's too windy. This is sunrise, and it was a beautiful sunrise. It hadn't happened yet. I could see it was going to happen. It was clouds. It's beautiful." I said, "Guys, we got to stay here and catch the sunshine." And Captain Ray said, "You go first, then," and whatever. And I flew in just as high winds like a day before, whatever. I knew it was good. And I took the Mavic 3 and I said, "Listen, guys, we're not going to go high and we're not going to go far, but we can go high enough and far enough to capture this beautiful sunrise." And they were amazed that thing just got up there and just stuck in the wind. And I moved it back and forth, and it didn't have an issue at all. And then they got brave and they got theirs out up in the air. I mean, but I understand not believing it could do it. But Marcus, he's flown. He knows what it can do. I know what it can do, and so there's 2 things that has gone for it over. So people talk about the bad and not the good with the Mavic 3, and that's that's a shame that's a shame that the GPS thing messes up. And Marcus popped on right when we got done talking about it. I kind of, even before that article came out that Bill just read from Drone XL, I was kind of not buying the automotive GPS chip to begin with, because, okay, if that truly was the fault of this GPS chip being an automotive one, I have enough memory, almost all of us would have the same GPS lock time if we were all on the same chip. But I know, for instance, Marcus gets much better times than people on the East Coast, and that wouldn't be the case if it was just a chip, that chip overload thing. We'd all have 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever the time is. Everybody would have roughly the same time. So for me, that kind of blew that whole theory out of the water right away. I mean, I don't have any idea what it is, because it could be many different things. But that just didn't ring true to me because of the evidence of varying GPS loss.
We're not engineers, are we, Ron? We're not engineers.
But we did stay at a Holiday. But we did stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah. But I'm going to take this guy to Florida with me, and I know what it's done for me here in Idaho and in Nevada. I flew it in Nevada as well. But when we get to Florida, we'll see, Ron, because you have experience with yours.
Yeah.
Bill, you have experience with yours. And we can compare notes.
I can't wait to see I can't wait to see the difference in yours when you get to the East Coast and you compass calibrated. I just can't, because that'll be the ultimate test. You've taken it across country and see what varying degrees. And we were trying to talk Marcus last night on Drone Nation into bringing his little Altel drone along, because a lot of us have never seen that now. But John, even if he doesn't bring a giant drone flyer, promise to bring his along. Bill, you've never seen the Nano either, right? So
No, I haven't. No.
you'd love to see the Nano up close, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I might bring it just because of that new firmware update.
Yeah, I saw there was a new
what?
firmware update
Yeah,
for that.
Bill, did you read that up? Did you read enough of that to understand what was happening there, Bill? To talk about that a little bit, I kind of was confused.
I was confused too. Now, I'll tell, I'm not sure, and I'll say this, and this is no disrespect, but a lot of times they try to translate pure Chinese to English and it doesn't go well. Okay. And I think, and this is just me because I did take a look at it. It just didn't sound cohesive. It didn't make sense. I wasn't getting anything really out of it, Ron. I mean, I read it. And I wasn't getting anything like, what's it doing? Okay. Besides the standard fix issues, blah, blah, blah kind of stuff.
I understood it was going to add HDR, but it didn't say which drone it was adding HDR to.
Yeah.
And then I read that it had 8-bit log color profile, but again, I didn't understand which model. Marcus, you're the all-tell man here now. You probably have your pulse to the ground here or whatever the saying is.
Yeah, I'm going to finger on the pulse, so to speak, or ear to the ground.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to try and update it. In fact, right after the show here, and see how the update goes. And by the way, I have two of them now. I've got the red one and I've got the orange one that Autel sent me. And the orange one is
thank you, Autel pilots, right? The courtesy of Autel pilots.
Courtesy of Autel pilots. Yeah, no kidding. But the HDR should be interesting. So anything to me that improves the video quality, man, I'm all in. Right
now is that for the Nano or the Lite or both?
That is on the Nano. They said the tracking is only on the Lite, which again, people were complaining about this drone that it wasn't ready to go right out of the box. These Autel drones, they've had all these features that they promised in all of their ads. At least DJI told us when you get it, it's not going to have them.
Marcus, tell us how the tracking is on the Mavic 3.
That's one of the things that's just absolutely phenomenal about it. Yeah. And in conjunction with the phenomenal obstacle avoidance, it's just worry-free. Anyway, that Autel, you're not going to get that tracking yet on the Nano. You will get it on the Lite. But if that HDR improves the video, man, I'm all in.
Got a question for both of you guys.
No.
Okay. This Mavic 3S that they're talking about, what do you guys think about that? What are your thoughts about that?
Go ahead, Ron.
Well, I think who was it? Is it Ken Donor that posed that in his video? He said if they release a Mavic 3S in the fall, and the main improvement is Mavic 3 is it gets salads faster. He asked, will that be a slap in the face? I think that will be a slap in the face to everybody that was an early adopter and bought the Mavic 3. And I know people are going to say, well, they should offer an upgrade program. Yeah, they should, but they're never going to offer upgrade program. Yeah. They're going to ignore that they're going to act like nothing ever happened with the Mavic 3. And you got to pay another. They'll bump the price up a little bit. $23.99 for the S model, or $25.99 for the S model. Like Marcus said earlier, I mean, if you're really that unhappy, you should contact whoever, DJI or whoever bought the drone from. Send the Mavic 3 back now and wait for the S in the fall. Well, of course, and that'll be delayed, so it won't come in the fall. It may actually come in the winter or early 2023. So you'll be without a premium drone for probably quite a long time.
Yeah, you'll get it on like December 27th or something.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts. I mean, like Ken said, when a High Kessler puts an article out like that or whatever, I mean, he may have the fine details wrong, but he's probably not awfully too long on a drone coming out. So I'm going to say that probably is. Marcus?
Well, so Ron, you said it earlier. The thing that would get me excited about a 3S is an improvement on that the zoom and the things that we talked about earlier. If I could get good, solid, crisp zoom in, man, That'd be huge. That'd be a big deal.
And Lauren's raw photos on the Zoom, right?
And yeah, Lauren wants raw photos. Yep.
I agree. We, for me, and I gotta want to add this on top of, and I concur 100% with what both of you guys said. But for me right now, okay, my dad always used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay. And if my Mavic 3 is running fine, getting good battery life, I'm getting great video from it, taking great stills. You know what? You're gonna have to really press it's gonna have to be a hard case for me to go ahead and sell my Mavic 3 right now and pick up a Mavic 3S. But they're gonna have to up the ante. Okay. For me to do something like that personally, okay, it's going to have that kind of camera improvement that Marcus is talking about. It's going to have lightning fast GPS. And I mean, like, click your finger fast. It's going to have that battery life that they're talking about, like an added kind of battery life to that. There's got to be more than just what we're seeing right now. Okay. From what we've seen from the Mavic 3, they're going to have to up the ante. It's going to have to be, you're going to have to really kind of sweeten the deal. Maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, this is just one of those things, okay? Maybe they'll have a different smart controller for it too. Who knows?
Oh, there you go, Bill.
With that bigger screen.
With a bigger screen, yeah.
Hey, on there or something. Yeah.
Hey, Bill, you mentioned about lightning fast GPS. Somebody told me, I never got a chance to go back to research the what would you call it, the build up to the Mavic. Somebody said when they advertised the Mavic 3, they advertised faster GPS than what
I think you're right.
That was one of the features, was quicker GPS lock or whatever. So right there and there, if you could find that fine print and you contact their support, you could show them that in their ad and say, I need to return it because you put this in your advertising and it's not true, and I can demonstrate the lock time in a video if you want me to.
I'll be right back. She's asleep, and there's somebody ringing the front doorbell.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. It may be all tell down there. So, yeah. So anyhow, yeah. I mean, I don't think I think the firmware update for the GPS has helped. It definitely hasn't hurt me. But again, everybody mileage varies or whatever. Everybody has different results. But for me, I've seen a slight improvement. Bill, what's your final verdict on the firmware update?
On the firmware update, I think they may have addressed some of it, but not all of it. And taking into account what we've just read and everything. All right, it sounded good. It sounded good on the forum. It kind of made some sense, but the three of us are not engineering people. Okay, we don't have that technical type of background to know what these chipsets actually consist of, the memories, how the memories are worked on. If you add too much into something, all right, and I think what they did was they tried to force some things here with the software, and that's my opinion after reading what we did tonight, because I'm leaning more, it's more of a software type of a related issue, because I think they tried to force a little too much into this without properly testing it. And I think that's where they're running into problems with the GPS right now. That's my theory.
That's a good one, Bill. And looking at that from a bigger picture, okay, let's say you're entirely correct on this. Okay, it was released in November, and people are foaming at the mouth in November. Just think if the drone still wasn't out now. Just think if the Mavic 3 was unreleased at this point. What would the community be saying right now if there was no Mavic 3 at all? It was just pure speculation still at this point.
We have to see the pitchforks and the torches, and they'd be walking down Main Street. Okay, where is it? Where is it? It's not here. It's not here. And you brought up, this is a fantastic point you brought up, Ron, because you know what? It's they will every bit as much cave in to that. I don't want to call pressure, but the incentive to make sales, okay, and a high dollar item with a big markup on it. Of course they want to get that out there. Of course they want to get it sold, okay? And this is what I think is happening here with DJI, okay? They kind of press the issue. And haven't we seen this before? Last year, the Fimi Mini, infamous Hubson Mini. Okay,
Yep.
they were forcing the issue, and you saw the disastrous results that
Well,
happened.
even the
Okay?
even the Untitled drones showed up too early
Yeah.
unfinished.
Again, forcing these things too early. They need to like stop, refocus, and say, look, we need to get this right because we need the Mini 3 to take off like hotcakes and not have anything coming out of the gate. Okay. Not have any issues, not have a GPS issue, not have any kind of firmware issues. Okay. But be ready to go when it's, when it's sold. And I think that's what they're trying to focus on right now, focusing on taking care of the Mavic 3 in this and focusing on getting the Mini 3 right.
Right, getting that firmware issue correct. If the Mini 3 has the same exact for software chips and whatever, if it has the same software and hardware or whatever, it's going to have the same issue. We don't know this. We're just speculating. It may have the same stuff. Maybe it has different hardware in it. Maybe it has different GPS software. But if it has the same as a Mavic 3, then we kind of know why the things like. And Bill, just that whole scenario you explained, it's amazing how a company like Apple can release the new phones every year the same week or whatever, and year after year they release the phone with no major hardware or software glitches or whatever that cause a problem like this or whatever. It's amazing how a company like that just somehow always hits the date they have to hit, and everybody has some kind of issues, but no major issues year after year.
Question of the day. What did you think about the rumors regarding the DJI Mavic 3S? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.